Similar to birth, Hindu Balinese considers death as the transition to the afterlife, from the world of flesh to the heaven above. Therefore, it needs special preparation to reach nirvana. The nature element, which has the most significant role to smoothen the transition of the deceased, is fire. They call it Ngaben.
For Hindu Balinese, Ngaben is a sacred funeral ceremony which is still being preserved. Ngaben is a unique procession which is firmly rooted to the faith of Hindu Balinese. Ngaben is also a part of sacrifice to the ancestors, or called as Pitra Yajna, to purify the soul of the ancestors.
Hindu Balinese believes that life is a journey. Many life stories that humans should go through to reach perfection, called moksha, reuniting with the gods. In the belief of Balinese Hindu, human is called Atman, or the holy spark of the god Sang Hyang Vidi. Therefore, in every stages of life, Balinese Hindu should conduct various rituals to purify themselves, including the ritual for the deceased, before finally reuniting with the gods. In Balinese Hindu tradition, the ritual for the dead is called Ngaben or Plebon. Ngaben is a ritual to separate the soul from the flesh through the process of cremation. The ritual aims to purify the soul or Atman before transitioning back to the heavens.
Ada 3 hutang budi masyarakat Hindu di Bali. Yang pertama berhutang budi kepada dewa, yang kemudian kedua adalah berhutang budi kepada leluhur, pitrayannya, dan yang ketiga adalah pada manusia-manusia, ada orang-orang yang arif bijaksana, yaitu resi. Nah, Pitra Rena inilah pun menjadi latar belakang agama, budaya, dan sastra. Sastranya adalah itu terekam dalam berbagai pustaka atau referensi-referensi lokal yang kita sebut dengan lontar-lontar. Jadi kalau kita bicara Ngaben ada banyak sumber lontar, tetapi inti dari sebuah Ngaben itu adalah kalau kita lihat ada keyakinan dari masyarakat umat Hindu di Bali untuk mengembalikan roh orang itu yang meninggal itu kembali ke asalnya, sedangkan jasadnya pun dikembalikan kepada unsur-unsur pembentuknya yang kita sebut dengan Panca Maha Bhuta.
Panca Maha Bhuta ini terdiri dari Pratiwi, Apah, Teja, Wayu Akasa yang ada dalam tubuh manusia. Nah, itu merupakan unsur alam yang ada di dalam Bona Alit. Nah, unsur alam yang ada di Bona Alit ini tentunya sama dengan unsur alam yang ada di Bona Agung, alam semesta. Nah, oleh itulah seharusnya kita umat Hindu melaksanakan pengabenan. Di samping itu, pengabenan itu merupakan rasa bakti keluarga terhadap orang yang telah meninggal dunia.
Ngaben in Bali always applies nature elements. Just like in the Manah Toyaning ritual, this is one of the important rituals in Ngaben procession. This ritual is symbolized by collecting holy water from a holy water source, which is done by a Hindu priest or Ida Paranda and the descendants of the deceased. Deep grief is felt by the people of Denpasar. A protective figure of the community has passed away. The death of the king of Pemacutan, Ida Cokorda Pemacutan XI, leaves deep sorrow in many of the people's hearts. The royal family of Pemacutan Palace holds strongly the tradition, which is being preserved hereditary, including in conducting the ritual for the dead. As a form of devotion and sincerity of the family and the community following the passing of the king, the royal family conducts Ngaben or Plebon ceremony with the highest level of respect. Balinese Hindu believes that the next generation, which are the grandchildren, could help guide the journey of the deceased. Therefore, the Mamaras ritual becomes the moment for all the king's descendants to attend and perform the ritual. It is hoped that prayers from the king's grandchildren will help smoothen the way of the deceased back to Nirvana, based on his karma and good deeds that he made during his lifetime. The dead body then placed into a coffin before it is buried. In the procession of Ngaben, the dead body is placed on bade. Bade is designed by an architect named Undagi. In the Ngaben procession of the king of Pemacutan, Ida Bagus Gedepidada is in charge to design the place to carry the dead body with special design, which symbolizes the highest social caste in Bali.
Saat beliau masih hidup, nyenang jabatan beliau, kewibawaan beliau, kewisesaan beliau diwujudkan sebagai seperti bomo inilah dia. Semua warna masuk, berarti semua kalangan mereka rangkul semua itu. Begitulah yang ditampilkan dalam pembentukan bade boneka.
Besides bade, the usage of lembu, or the bull, or mythical animal-shaped bamboo wood paper coffin has another philosophy in Plebon procession. Balinese Hindu call it patulangan. The function of patulangan is closely related to the belief of the ancestors in Bali, where animals are considered as sacred.
Cokorda pada umumnya punika satria. Punika kesatria, mengenai wangsa kesatria wangsa. Nika penganggian duit Cina sampun lemu. Tapi malih sang biseka, apalagi beliau sudah dibaptis, dibiseka sebagai raja. Cina itu sudah jelas lembu. Pembakaran beliau nanti dengan lembu.
In Ngaben procession, the lembu or bull or mythical animal-shaped bamboo wood paper coffin. Spiritually, it will take the soul of the deceased to the heavens, to the world where gods and goddess live. Ogoh-ogoh parade in the Plebon ceremony of Ida Cokorda Pemacutan is performed as a form of devotion of the community to the king. Ogoh-ogoh becomes a part of community's participation in the ceremony. The Ogoh-ogoh parade also becomes a way for family members to ask for the blessings from negative elements. So such blessings could help smoothen the journey of the king back to the heaven. In this parade, Muslim community are also involved. They perform rodat as a form of tolerance and close ties with the royal family.
This parade also involves Muslim community in Denpasar, which perform rodat. It symbolizes the close relationship between Muslim community in Denpasar with the royal family of Pemacutan Palace, Denpasar. The parade of Ogoh-ogoh, or the Balinese giant statue in the ceremony, aims to ask for the blessing of Sang Bhuta Kala, so that the journey of the late of the king of Denpasar to the heaven goes well. Not only performing rodat and also Ogoh-ogoh parade, there are also offerings that will be used in the ceremony.
In Hindu Balinese tradition, Ogoh-ogoh symbolizes Sang Betara Kala, which is represented in the form of giant creatures. Ogoh-ogoh aims to remove the earth's negative elements. The series of Plebon ceremony is continued by the sending of prayers through offerings. One of them is Tarpana Agung, which is offerings to the deceased from the community, and Penebusan ceremony, which is a ceremony to wash away the sins of the deceased during his lifetime.
Kepribadian beliau itu sangat baik kepada masyarakat, terutama masyarakat bawah. Walaupun beliau sudah tidak menjadi wakil rakyat, tapi tetap melihat keadaan masyarakat, bagaimana di masyarakat, apa masyarakat bisa makan, itu. Beliau sangat perhatian sama rakyat kecil. Semoga ide diberikan kelancaran untuk melangkah ke Sunil.
Beliau sangat dekat dengan masyarakat, jadi banyak yang merindukan beliau, banyak yang tidak percaya beliau sudah tiada. Jadi mereka rindu masa-masa itu kan, itu jadi kenangan pribadi dengan beliau, karena beliau orang di jalan itu orang yang suka bersosialisasi. Jadi siapapun garis masyarakat manapun beliau sapa. Bahkan orang gila pun senang sama beliau. Jangankan orang yang normal, orang yang gila pun beliau sapa, beliau hargai. Beliau selalu menghargai siapapun tidak pernah memilih kasih, tidak pernah pandang bulu apapun jabatannya. Beliau pasti sapa.
The day of the Ngaben ceremony started by melaspas bade and the lembu ritual. This ceremony aims to purify the bade with offerings. This procession is led by a Hindu priest. In this ritual, Rodat was also performed by the Muslim community as the last tribute to the king. Before the coffin is taken, a ritual named the Dunlayon and Papagat procession were conducted. Papagat derives from the word pagat, which means separation. It aims to separate worldly relations and love with the family members. This separation procession is important to release the deceased that enables him to continue his journey to the heavens. The love of the community of Denpasar to the king was felt more when the coffin of the deceased was taken to the body. The deceased's body was taken from his resting place by family members to the body by climbing up the bamboo ladder named Traktak. Thousands of people flocked to the streets, escorting the departure of the king.
So the body which carried the deceased body of the late of the king of Denpasar has just arrived at the grave, or we call it setra in Balinese. The body itself was carried by thousands of people of Denpasar community as the last tribute to the late of the king of Denpasar. And after this, there will be several rituals that will be done here at the setra, and also the deceased body will be cremated here.
Before the coffin is placed inside the body of the lembu, the coffin is carried circling the lembu 3 times as a symbol of tribute and farewell with family members, community, and the world. After the coffin is opened, priest will splash holy water named Tirta Pengentas, which is believed as a guide for the deceased to the next life according to his karma during his living in the world. This ceremony is led by priest and witnessed by close family members. Water symbolizes serenity. The splash of the holy water is hoped to bring serenity to the soul of the king to return to the heavens. Only close members are allowed to get close to the lembu, bringing offerings and others such as cloth and jewelry for the deceased. Fire becomes an important element in Ngaben. Fire has a role to return the element of Panca Maha Bhuta, which forms the human body, back to nature. After the deceased's body is cremated, the ash and bone remains is watered by the sacred water. Family members then gather and collect the bones into a white cloth. The bone remains then are assembled on a piece of white cloth. The bones are arranged to form a human body. Nganyut is the last series in Plebon ceremony. In this ritual, the ash is taken to the beach to be washed away. The Nganyut procession in the Plebon ceremony of Ida Cokorda Pamajutan was conducted at Kuta Beach. The ash and offerings are taken to the beach. Family members conduct prayers, which is led by a priest. Nganyut ritual aims to wash away all negative elements attached to the deceased. For the family members of Pamajutan Palace, Plebon is a ritual to pay back to the ancestors. The final goal of Plebon ceremony is the symbol of sincerity. Ngaben ceremony is the form of letting go of family members who already passed away and left the world on its journey to a much higher afterlife. Ngaben makes us believe that everything that comes from nature will at the end return back to nature.
Ngaben is a ceremony to return all the elements of human body, or in Balinese we call it buana alit, to the nature, or in Balinese we call it buana agung. This ceremony is also a part in preserving Balinese culture from generation to generation. This ceremony aims to balance the relationship between human beings to the Almighty God, the relationship between human beings, and also the relationship between human beings to the nature. Chok Devi, TVRI World.